We had lots of shortstop injuries this weekend. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Monday, September 16th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers, and big weekend of shortstop injuries. Unfortunately, Francisco Lindor left Friday's game with back soreness and was out of the lineup Saturday. Tried to return on Sunday, and then he left early with renewed back discomfort. He will undergo imaging on Monday. Chris, obviously, Lindor's been in the conversation for NL MVP. He's been a great fantasy player this season, but I think you might have to play it safe and plan to bench him this upcoming week.
Yeah, I'm in one league where I don't really have a ton of options. My best alternative is probably Jose Caballero in a Roto league. I'm going to wait as long as I can. And luckily, this is one of those leagues where for hitters, we can make changes by Friday. So if I do have to sit Lindor, hopefully it's only for a few days and he's back by the weekend. But there were some quotes after the game that weren't super optimistic sounding from Lindor, and he's a guy who tends to be pretty optimistic. So I'm definitely concerned about this one. And I think at this point, based on what we know, I'm leaning towards you have to sit him.
Couple other shortstop eligible players who got hurt this weekend. CJ Abrams missed all 3 games due to left shoulder soreness. Tyler Fitzgerald missed all 3 games due to lower back tightness. And lastly, I know O'Neal Cruz now plays outfield, but you might be using him at shortstop in fantasy. He left Sunday's game due to a left ankle injury. That means you need replacements. And the top option this week in shallower formats, Tommy Edman, 69% rostered. He had a huge week, 5 homers, 1 steal. So just check to make sure that he's not available, but assuming he is. Next up, Chris, we have Geraldo Perdomo, who's 31% rostered, has good matchups this week, including 3 games in Coors Field, and Trevor Story, 28% rostered, who hit a home run. He had a steal this weekend, obviously part of a really good Red Sox lineup. Who would you prefer between Perdomo and Trevor Story?
I think this is one that definitely depends on the format you're playing in. You look at Trevor Story. He has played 153 games in his career with the Boston Red Sox. He's only hitting 231. He has struck out 192 times. So in a points league, I think he's probably not really in the discussion. But he has 21 homers, 26 steals, 87 RBIs, 69 runs in those 153 games. That's a pretty solid Roto option, even with a low batting average. So I think Trevor Story and Roto, Perdomo in head-to-head points is the way to go.
Some names in deeper leagues. Orlando Arcia is 19% rostered. He's not very good, but the Braves have good matchups this week. Jose Tena, 13% rostered. He's been hitting well, but there's lots of lefties on the schedule this week for the Nationals. And Otto Lopez can add an element of speed here. He's been playing consistently for the Marlins. Chris, any interest there? I mean, we're talking 15-team Roto leagues or deeper.
Yeah, I've kind of written Otto Lopez off as someone to be interested in for fantasy, but one, he's been good for almost 2 months now, since the start of August, hitting 297, 9 stolen bases. And you look at the minor league track record, he's played a lot at AAA. It's like 230 games. He's hit like 287, OPS around 800, not much power, but decent speed. I do think Otto Lopez is not a total nothing. And it's just batting average and speed probably that he's going to give you. But I think he's an okay categories leagues option. That is Otto Lopez.
Let's wrap up with the return of Jacob deGrom, who's one of the best pitchers of this generation when he's on the mound, which has not been very often, unfortunately. But he pitched well in his season debut at the Mariners, 3 2/3 shutout innings, 4 strikeouts, 10 whiffs. The bigger story is he only got up to the 61 pitches, the 3 2/3 innings here. Velocity was down a little bit. Maybe that's not such a bad thing for Jacob deGrom. He's 80% rostered. He's 26% started on CBS. He gets the Mariners again this week. Chris, would you be planning to use Jacob deGrom if you held on to him?
I don't think there's any way you can use him in a points league. And most CBS leagues are points, 80% rostered. I would guess most of the leagues he's rostered in are points leagues. And that's tough because that's definitely not the format I want to use him in. I could see him getting up to 75 pitches and maybe he gets through 5 innings. There's an outside chance he gets through 6, but it seems pretty unlikely. Chances of a win, I mean, not terrible. He's probably going to limit the Mariners in runs, but don't love the chances of a win given 5 or 6 innings. So I think he's a decent start in a roto league. I could see an 8 strikeout game. I could see a 10 strikeout game in 5 innings from Jacob deGrom. But yeah, not at all a must start here.
Yeah, he got up to 61 pitches in this one. 75 pitches this week. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
That would be my.
All right, we are going to wrap there. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, you can listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, wherever you listen to podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.